is up? Mad Mob coming in hot with the last Q&A episode of the off season. You want to know why? Because the off season is coming to an end. Scat.
Football. The old pigskin, gentlemen.
Let's go. Here with the usual suspects. It's myself, Wayne, got Goni and Beggs.
Hog high for MVP, man.
Last Q&A. We're gonna throw in little Q&As at the end of our regularly scheduled programming. We're gonna start getting into a more fixed schedule. Content's gonna be coming out same time every week, so you'll know exactly when to expect it. I've been kind of dialing that in as we creep closer to the regular season. Look for the first episode of the season to come out Thursday 7 a.m. We're gonna do just tune in. Thursday 7 a.m. is when it's gonna be posted, and I'm gonna break down the content schedule of the regular season. Well, I'll dive into that a little bit in the intro of that episode, so just keep an eye out for it. It's Thursday 7 a.m. the start of our regular season content. I'm absolutely hyped about it. Watched a ton of college football this weekend. Football's back. I mean, football americano, it's back.
It feels like it. It would feel more like it if it still wasn't 95 degrees outside.
Yeah, it's absolutely sweat to death. Me and Beckley went to that Kentucky game and absolutely sweat to death, but loved every second of it.
I'm hyped for it though. We're gonna have three shows a week: Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. Done deal.
Yep.
Let's go.
It's going to be loaded. We're going to cover everything you need to know. This Q&A is important to us because it's the last one it's the last one of the off season. Our Friday show is we're going to throw a little Q&A at the end of it, but it's not going to be nearly as in depth as this one. We're not going to be doing nearly as many questions. So if you have questions, get them in early. Because it's a first come first serve. Obviously, it's first come first serve, and if it's a terrible question, there are such things as stupid questions, and we will throw them out.
Right out of here.
So it's
we're only doing a few. Only doing a few on the show.
Exactly. It's first come first serve, but they got to be pretty decent questions. So make sure you hit us on somewhere. I mean, wherever you hit us up, we'll find it. We'll check the timestamp. We'll get you in there. But yeah, this is our last dedicated Q&A of the football season. I'm pretty sure we got a lot of Reddit action, so I'm going to pass it off to Begley.
Yeah, we do, man. Before we get going, though, I'm going to ask. We always like to have a little intro topic, and I know you discussed our schedule, but I was talking with Goni before this episode started. And Wayne, I'd love to hear your opinion. If you've got a roster that you feel like can win now, or you want to win now with your roster, but you get offered really good value for a player. Kind of like in our league, the value I got offered for Cooks. You have to take it, but it made my roster worse. It hurt my chances of winning this year. What's your stance on that? Do you always take the overpay, or are you more, depending on your situation, you might decline and overpay so you can win now?
It depends how much of an overpay.
Right.
If I'm in win now mode, it has to be a large overpay.
Okay.
And in your case, in your trade specifically, it was a large overpay. If you want to tell the Mad Mob what it was, so they have a better understanding.
Very nice.
Goni, what do you think, man?
Well, why did I get that reaction?
You totally cut out.
Oh, I cut out? Okay. That didn't cut out for me, so let me just backtrack then, and I'll repeat what I said.
Quick summary.
Yeah, so it has to. If I'm winning now, it has to be a large overpay. A slight overpay doesn't allow me to come off what I'm at, and that I hate it because it always kind of like requires an explanation. You got to talk to the guy and be like, "Listen, your value's good. It's a good trade. It's just not what I'm looking for right now." So what I was saying was, because I know you used your trade as an example.
Sure.
Tell the Mad Mob the details of that trade so they can understand what a large overpay is.
So I had Brandon Cooks, and he was drafted to be my wide receiver too. I had
Dynasty League.
Higgins in a
Dynasty startup.
dynasty. Yeah, I had Higgins, Cooks, and Bateman, and then some Jahan Dotson, maybe my wide receiver 4. So I was really counting on Cooks this year, and I got offered Garrett Wilson, Tyler Algier, a 2023 1 and a 3, first and third round pick for Brandon Cooks, which obviously was a snap except for me. It's a no-brainer for Cooks. I'll never get that kind of value. But I feel like it's a bit of a dice roll now for Garrett Wilson, Bateman, and Jahan Dotson to fill that wide receiver 2 spot every week.
Yeah, so you hurt your chances this year, but you took a big overpay, in my opinion.
I agree.
So that's what it is. It'd have to be a big overpay, just a regular overpay. Just them offering me a little more value than I'm losing isn't enough if I'm in win now mode.
Okay. So we just drafted, and I'll get to the questions after this, but we just drafted in Dynasty League, all three of us. And Wayne, I know CeeDee Lamb was your first wide receiver off the board. He was your second pick. What kind of overpay would it take for you to come off of CeeDee Lamb? 3 1s?
CeeDee Lamb requires a large overpay because he's number 1 in a high-powered passing offense.
Right.
And he's young, and it's a dynasty startup. I mean, that's the thing. Like you lost Brandon Cooks, who's value, but what is he, 29?
28. But yeah.
You're talking about a guy that's 24 years old and can be a viable number WR1 for the next 5-6 years.
Right, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. What do you a fair value for CD might be an average player?
See, that's the thing. That's the thing.
What it would take for you? What would it take for you to come off him?
It would be very hard for me to come off of him just for picks.
Oh, okay. So, like, what would it take? Like a.
It would take if you're using picks as throw-ins, it would.
I'm just asking in general.
I want to replace. I want a high-end WR2 and multiple picks, or I want a high-end WR2 and a high-end RB2.
Okay, fair. Makes sense. Goni, do you kind of echo what he's saying?
Yeah, it's like we were talking about before. It's going to vary from situation to situation based on your confidence on whether or not you're going to win the league. I know we'd spoken about a potential DJ Moore or Jerry Jeudy trade. I have both of those guys. I also came into this startup draft acquiring an additional first rounder and third rounder. So I feel good about the team. I feel good about the championship hopes that I have this year. So it's going to take an overpay, a substantial overpay for me to want to blow up that roster to, go and trade anyone away. Honestly, and, I love the team.
And I know people probably would expect me to come off of CD easier because wide receivers. I'm deep wide receivers in this league. I have CeeDee Lamb, Michael Pittman, Allen Robinson, Darnell Mooney. I've got DeAndre Hopkins waiting in the wings. But it doesn't matter. If you're asking for a player, I want his value, and just based solely off his youth and the fact that I'm in win now mode, I want more than his value. I don't care what else is on my bench. I don't care what my depth is. I'm looking, because when I make a trade, I'm looking at what I'm losing to what I'm getting. I don't look at the rest of my team unless it's filling needs. Obviously, my starting running backs are good, but my starting running back is Derrick Henry. A running back is a need for me currently, so I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, I'm deep at wide receiver, so I'll let him go for cheap because I can."
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. All right. Let's get into the first question here. Dynasty B420. It's a 12-team half-point PPR. He's giving up Cooper Kupp, Joe Mixon, and Hunter Henry. And he's getting 4 2023 first-round picks back. Is that good value?
Derrick Henry.
No.
Name the players. Sorry.
Cooper Kupp, Joe
Okay.
Mixon, and Hunter Henry. Cooper Kupp, Joe Mixon, and Hunter Henry for 4 23-1s.
Yeah.
Is that good enough value?
Send it. That's good enough for me, I think. I mean, I'm assuming that these are old guys. They're old players. They're probably going to have another year of sheer dominance this year. To me, it sounds like he would be getting out a year early rather than a year too late, which is something you absolutely want to do in a dynasty. So I would snap that deal up. You're going to plug a lot of holes in the roster with the value you're getting on these rookies coming out next year.
Yeah, a half-point PPR. Joe Mixon's young, but like all the shelf life is very short on running backs, and what is he? 26, going to be 27 this year. So he's got maybe 2 more years in him. Cooper Kupp, he's going to be dominant this year, but then after that, you're probably looking at a serious regression. Plus, you're at a half-point PPR. I mean, Cooper Kupp is that dude receiver-wise, but you're already taking a hit because your league is set up to ding receivers a little bit. So yeah,
and the value will never be higher. The value for Cooper
Never.
Kupp stops right here. This is as high as it gets. It is peak value. You'll never get it again. And God forbid you hang on to him and he gets hurt this year and misses the season. It's shot. You'd be lucky to get half of that trade next year. So I would go ahead and take it.
And I'm assuming he's getting 4 picks. That puts you at 5 picks in the first round next year.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, you've got a lot of dart throws.
The last thing I'll throw in there, man, is if you're giving away Mixon and Kupp, I'm assuming your roster's pretty depleted. Why not go ahead and sell whatever assets you have now, unless they're super young, help you rebuild, right? Like if you're holding on to an older piece, get rid of them.
A Brandon Cooks, if you will.
A Brandon Cooks, go full
rebuild.
Full rebuild, yeah, exactly. I could get that out. Thank you.
But that's a quick rebuild. That's a quick turnaround on a rebuild. You can't beat that.
Very quick. No, I totally agree. We've made our thoughts clear on the 23 draft. I'm with them, man. Ship it away, brother. NDK Forums, 14-team Superflex. And Wayne, I know you don't play many Superflexes. This is where you can play the quarterback in the flex. Team A has Jonathan Taylor, Chase Claypool, and Tylan Wallace. Side B has Travis Etienne, Mike Evans, James Robinson, and a 23 1-2. Is that enough to ship out JT for you guys? It's side A is Jonathan Taylor, Claypool, and Wallace. Side B, Etienne, Mike Evans, James Robinson. So you get Jaguars backfield, Mike Evans, and a 23 1-2.
Ship it.
Donnie?
Yeah.
It's a 14-team Superflex.
It is 14.
Ship that. Because there are several quarterbacks that are going to be drafted to the NFL next year that are going to be drafted to start immediately. So a 14-team Superflex, you might get some spicy value out of that other first-round pick.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking to win now, if you have like another good running back, yeah, I mean, Mike Evans doesn't really hold a lot of long-term value for me, especially with the uncertainty of Tom Brady playing next year. That's the only thing that I'm a little hung up on. So, I mean, if you don't think you have a chance to win it, if you're not a top 3-4 team, hang on to Jonathan Taylor. He's still super young. If you are just a few pieces away, you're a little more spread out and you have a little more depth by taking that package and you'll get the pick. So I guess that's going to be my answer for it.
Yeah, I'm leaning more toward Goni's side. It feels like a fair trade, and I don't know that I want fair for JT. I'd like a little more. I'm not.
It's rough because Begley is valuing JT because he doesn't play super flexes, so he's valuing JT at just typical standard formatting. He doesn't understand that JT is a middle of the pack first rounder in super flexes.
Yeah, thanks.
He's
Man.
valuing him at the number 1 overall, and that's just not what he is in a super flex.
I'm valuing him as a to me a lock top 3 running back this year. So yeah, I take it, but I don't know, man. I feel like it's even. It's a good trade as opposed to you coming out clearly on the winning side. But I'd probably take it. It's a 10-team half-point PPR super flex, and it's 4-point passing touchdowns. 10-team half-point PPR, 4-point passing touchdowns super flex. Sending Josh Allen, Terry McLaurin in a 3rd and 4th in the 23 draft. You're getting Kyler Murray, Lamb in a 23-1. Sending Josh Allen, McLaurin in a 3rd and 4th. Getting Kyler Murray, CeeDee Lamb in a 23-1.
I'm taking it. Because, listen, Josh Allen is the number 1 overall player in Superflex formats. Kyler Murray is tier 2. He's young. You're not losing anything age-wise. You're going to have a starter to fill in there the whole time. And I think on average, you might be losing, maybe 4 points a game going from Josh Allen to Kyler Murray. But going from Terry McLaurin to CeeDee Lamb, you're probably already making that back. And then you get a first rounder at the cost of a 2nd and 3rd. And I literally just talked about it, that there's a lot of there's a lot of NFL ready quarterbacks coming out of college this year. So if you're in need of another quarterback at the Superflex position, they're going to be there for you next year in the first round of the 2023. I'm taking that one.
Yeah, I'm taking that one as well. You're getting the better wide receiver. You're getting the younger wide receiver. You're getting the first round pick, and you want studs. In a 10-teamer, you want studs. These teams are stacked, so you want. I just think it's a good trade. It's something that you're going to want to do. I love Josh Allen. Wayne and I have Josh Allen on our co-managed championship dynasty squad. We roll with him. But I'd bid him adieu.
Yeah, and we just did a Superflex Dynasty startup, and I had the number 1 overall pick, and I took Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, yep.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the 2023 ones sets it apart. Absolutely, we'll take the CD Kyler side. Brian Blake Music says in a Superflex to 12-team half-point PPR. He's giving away Kyler Murray. He's getting Kirk Cousins in 2 23-1s.
Yeah, smash that.
Send it.
I agree. I'm high on Kirk Cousins this year, man. I think you can't think Jefferson has a big year without thinking Kirk Cousins has one too, right?
I mean, Kirk Cousins has only kind of been getting better over the last couple of years. So he's good, man. He's going to throw for over 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. He's going to put up production. He just can't win in primetime, but the wins and losses don't really matter when it comes to fantasy football, just the stats. So give me him in the 2-1s.
Are you all going to make me repeat myself all episode? NFL ready quarterbacks coming into the 2023 draft. You got 2 of them. Replace Kirk Cousins because he's old, and go ahead and take that other 2023 one and do whatever you want with it.
Get you something nice.
Agree.
Something real nice. Spend it all in one place.
Minnesota's coaching change too, man. I think they're going to throw the ball a little more. Sorry. Your boy HJ in a 1-point PPR 12 team. Goni, I'm going to start with you on this one because I know Wayne's answer. He's giving up Khalil Herbert and he's getting Kenny Gainwell. Would you do that?
Oh, man. This is me planting the flag here. No, I would not. I would hang on to Khalil Herbert for what I am perceiving his value to be as the starter next year in Chicago. I think he'll be worked in this year. They've talked about it a little bit. for some reason, the new coaching staff doesn't love David Montgomery that much. We've seen Khalil Herbert last year. The man's got skills. And I think that he'll be the true number one next year for Chicago. So he's a guy that I've drafted everywhere, along with David Montgomery, primarily as a handcuff, but also as a future move to where I was kind of looking at having two running backs with those. So I'm keeping him. He's got a better build. Kenny Gainwell, he might be the starter at some point this year, but he's kind of a smaller guy. He's not a true workhorse back. So I just don't see him. If they both start, say they're on equal playing field and they both start, Kenny Gainwell doesn't get as many opportunities as Khalil Herbert does.
Well, Wayne, as the card-carrying member of the anti-Khalil Herbert club, what do you say, man?
Yeah, I'm taking Kenny Gainwell. He's got his clear path in front of him to be a starter. I don't understand. Like, I fully respect Goni's knowledge when it comes to the NFL in general. I wouldn't have done a podcast with somebody who I didn't think I knew what they were talking about. Well, I respect Goni's opinion. He loves a lot of Bears offensive players, doesn't he?
He does, man. He really does.
Can we agree that the Bears offense is going to be trash?
Bottom of the league this year.
But he loves.
I plant my flag.
He loves them. He loves every offensive player on the Bears, and he sings the tune of volume with all of them. I'm not a fan of that run game, dude. I think Darnell Mooney is going to get PPR to death. I think Cole Kmet's going to get some good options. But that offense is bad. And do I think that it's going to produce multiple top-tier players? No. And that's just – and I don't think it's the volume. I don't think it's anything. I just think it's just the Bears offense. It won't be able to produce that many serviceable – fantasy players.
I think that's a really good point, Wayne. I'm on Goni's side here. I like Khalil Herbert a lot because we saw what he could do when he had the opportunity. Gainwell just worries me because Jalen Hurts hasn't checked the ball down. Running quarterbacks typically don't. I mean, that has to concern you, right?
But if you're a big Jonathan Taylor fan, how many receptions did he get? I mean, value's there for running backs running the football.
I mean, boys, I'm just saying, in the 3 games that we saw him last year where he was on the field for over 75% of the snaps, he played Green Bay, Tampa Bay, and San Francisco. Three terrible teams to be facing if you're on the ground. Put up 19 against Green Bay. He put up 18 against Tampa Bay. And he did 8.8 against San Francisco. So I'm saying it's there. He was over 5 yards a carry in the Green Bay and Tampa Bay games. Both have stellar rush defenses.
I would be very curious to see what as a Tampa Bay fan, our D line was injury riddled.
He was the only player last year to put up 100 yards on the Bucs defense.
What week was that? I'd love to look up you all go into the next question while I do
this. It was week 7. Week 7. He also had 5 receptions.
And I will gladly eat the I'm wrong. He dominated sandwich if I have to, but let me dive into this one a little bit.
That's fine. Do your thing. Yeah, it's just good to see, like, just that kind of stuff. He did the most with what he had. Took advantage. So it's something where I'd be willing to hold on to him to see if anything comes of that next year.
Yeah. Plus, you got to love the preseason, talk right now, right? I mean, he's getting a lot of hype out of Chicago, man. Plus, the other thing I can't shake about Gain, he's not a between the tackles guy. He was drafted to be a scat back.
He's like a Darren Sproles, more or less.
That's his build. He's little. I mean, his BMI has got to be in the teens. I mean, he's a small guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Goni, I'm absolutely with you. Give me Herbert.
We were missing JPP and Levante David that game.
minor pieces.
Two
That's
Pro
fine.
Bowlers.
There's 11 guys on the field, man, that play at the same time.
Yeah, but we're talking about two perennial Pro Bowlers here that we're missing. An edge guy, and then Levante David. I mean, one of the top
still impressive.
linebackers.
That's all. That's all I'm hearing. Still impressive.
Yeah,
It's not
we'd have
impressive.
to look and
Impressive.
see if Levante David missed any other games, because I know Herbert was the only one to put up 100 last year. So if he missed any other games and they still held running backs in check, it's pretty impressive.
Do with that what you will, Mad Mob. We're missing JPP and Levante David that week. You
let my
decide
man,
whether
let my
that's
man
important
go
or
on to the
not.
next question. Khalil Herbert's the answer.
Khalil Herbert's the answer.
Kenny Gainwell for MVP.
Maxi Umos says it's a one quarterback, 12 team, half point PPR.
How many P's?
Triple-
I love it.
triple P.
I love it when he stutters when he
Triple
says
P.
PPR because
I
it
thought that
takes
was a
10 years
typo,
and
but
there's
that
so
was
many
him.
P's in it.
Why is that a trigger for me? That word just dominates me on this podcast week in and week out. Hey, man, record it next time. That'll be our new intro.
That's awesome.
He's giving A.J. Dillon. He's getting Judy in a second, a 2024 second.
What's he say that again?
It's a one quarterback, half point PPR, 12 team league. He's giving A.J. Dillon. He's getting Judy in a 24 second.
Man.
That's pretty good
24
value.
second. Is a 24 second enough for you?
I mean, it's just a throw-in personally to a straight-up trade, essentially. And, I mean, roster construction's always going to go into it. For me,
He lists his roster construction. Would that help you?
AJ Dillon's value is at its lowest right now, in my opinion.
I would agree with that. He has Aaron Jones on his roster and A.J. Dillon. He lists his roster. Do you want to hear it? Will that help? Or do you
Let me
want
hear
to
his
tackle
receivers.
it?
Just tell me who his receivers are.
DJ Moore, Mike Evans, Deontay Johnson, Jacoby Myers, and Garrett Wilson.
I'm fine with that.
yeah,
DJ Moore, Mike Evans. His running backs are Aaron Jones, DeAndre Swift, Dillon, Henderson, and Cook. I assume Dalvin, but it could be James out of Buffalo.
I'd ride it out.
I would keep Dillon as the running back of the future there.
Yeah,
I like the wide receivers he has.
Yeah, you're good. You're not desperate for receivers to give up somebody that's probably going to be very good in the future.
This is a tough one for me. I don't like Mike Evans past this year. I'm down on Deontay. DJ Moore is the only guy I love, which is assuming why he's making the move. He's got Aaron Jones, who's signed to Green Bay through 2 more years. He's got Swift. You guys don't think he's good at the running back spot? He could use a little help at receiver?
I'd rather have the running back.
Okay. I'm going to say no contest on my end, but we have two for hold. Wow. Okay, so we have a drop question. This guy's got some players I'm going to list. You have to drop 5 players.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's kind of tough, so bear with me here. This is from The Killer. Running backs, he has Eno Benjamin and Jerome Ford.
Drop them.
Ford.
I love Eno Benjamin.
I'm keeping Eno, but drop Ford.
Yeah, he's number 2 in Arizona. Tight ends, Evan Ingram or Isaiah Likely.
Ingram.
I drop Ingram. Likely's getting a lot of hype out of Baltimore.
Well,
right now.
They're saying
and
he's supposed
Ingram's
to be the number 3.
Ingram's the perennial. This is Ingram's year guy. He's the
Yeah.
Cowboys of tight ends. It's
Yeah,
never
Yeah.
his year.
I totally agree. All right, so then give me 3 receivers. Paris Campbell,
Keep.
Kyle Phillips out of Tennessee, the rookie slot guy. He should be a keep. Amari Rodgers in Green Bay. He was their second round pick last year, 3rd round
Yeah, he's a rookie.
out of Wisconsin. Van Jefferson, Laviska Shenault, and
Drop.
Khalil Shakir out of Buffalo.
I'm dropping Chenault and Rogers right off the bat.
Okay.
Who
So
was
then
the
now
first one?
It's Paris Campbell,
Oh, keep.
Kyle Phillips, Amari Rogers, Van Jefferson, Laviska Shenault, Khalil Shakir.
Rogers, Visca, and
Shakir.
Khalil. Yeah.
I think I'm dropping Van Jefferson over Shakir. He's hurt. He had surgery in the offseason. He's not really recovering very well.
What do you mean? What do you mean he's not recovering well? What have you read that says his recovery is going poorly?
He's not. They're saying he's not going to be ready week 1. He originally was confident that he would be available week 1. Now they're saying it's probably not likely.
If you get injured in the NFL, Begley thinks you're done for. Just go ahead, apply to the local McDonald's because you're just done. If
Career's
you suffer
over.
an injury in the NFL, piss on you, you're done for.
It's always major too. There's never been a minor injury with Beggs. It's always major.
Surgery from a major
injury.
Well, I mean, I don't think it takes a brain surgeon to know that if your body gets injured and you cut on your body to perform, you usually don't come back healthier after you've had an injury. No, those usually rack up over time.
You can come back and still be a great NFL player.
Sure. Was Van Jefferson a great NFL player?
He was a serviceable one.
Serviceable. Okay, so
either way, you guys are talking about semantics over here.
This guy's on a drop list. He's obviously not starting Van Jefferson, but he's serviceable. And if you have serviceable players on your bench, then stick with him.
I have him over Shakir just because Shakir, the hope is you're looking for the next Gabe Davis on the team that Gabe Davis plays on. But you've got Diggs, you've got Gabe Davis, you've got Isaiah McKenzie, who's supposed to be the new hotness this year that everyone wants to pick up off waivers and hope he's going to be something. They signed Jamison Crowder, and they drafted Khalil Shakir. Shakir. So he's the 5 at best. He needs a lot of things to break his way to be fantasy relevant. I'm sure you could pick him up in the future if need be.
And it's not like that receiving core is aging out.
Right. We can all agree that Laviska Shenault's a cut, right?
Yeah.
Done deal.
Yeah.
And then we could agree it's Amari Rogers.
Yep.
Okay. So then we're split. Majority says Shakir. And I say Van Jefferson. As a Van Jefferson owner in multiple leagues, cut his tail.
How many leagues do you own Shakir in?
I don't own him in any.
But he's got a lot of hype. Tell you all you need to know.
It's just how the.
It's weird that he's drafting Van Jefferson, but not Shakir.
Shaker.
Crozer 1819 says it's a 10-team tight end premium PPR.
What's the premium? Does he say?
Doesn't say.
Okay, we'll assume 1.5 points.
He's trading away Kenneth Walker and Albert O. He's getting Treylon Burks in a 23-second.
No. No.
After the Dolchich injury, I'm keeping Albert O.
Yeah, I mean he's in a good offense. It's a tight end premium. He's young. Kenneth Walker, you just used depending on when you drafted, a top 3 pick in your rookie draft to get him. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
Stick with the RBs. They're harder to come by.
Yeah, I agree. This next one's more for Goni. It's a super flex question. Mr. Shroom.
Old hat.
Mr. Who?
Sorry, I got tickled. Wayne tickled me. Check us out on YouTube. Mr. Shroom Guy 27. Tom Brady and Waddle for Trevor Lawrence in the super flex.
Tom Brady and Waddle for Trevor Lawrence in the super flex. Yikes. He's going hard youth movement there. I understand. I wouldn't want to give up Waddle, though, as collateral to get Young.
No. Now, hey, man, dude. Just go ahead and grab Kyle Trask off the waivers. He's slotted to come to start for the Bucs if you're going to be that hurt, man. But Tom Brady's a heavy win now piece.
He is a heavy win now piece. That's too much of an overpay for my liking for I mean, I understand you have to because you literally have a guy on his last leg. And even on that leg, he's going to put up probably 40 touchdowns this year. And Trevor Lawrence he's still development, man. It's nothing against him. It's just he's a question mark. It's all development. I'm holding. I'm going to try and find a way to get another young guy if I need to slot into the quarterback spot.
Wayne, do you agree?
Yep. Yes, I do.
Okay. Overdue Kinkajou is a 12-team Superflex PPR. He's trading away Isaiah Pacheco for Nico Collins. Wayne, what do you think?
I think I'm keeping Pacheco.
Coney?
He could be the starter there soon. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Nico Collins. I think he's had some chances to work his way up, and he just hasn't.
Yeah.
And I know Pacheco was drafted a little bit further back, but
he was way back. I think like seventh round. He was super, super late, but I feel I'm echoing your sentiment there of like I'm willing to hold on to Pacheco to see if he becomes something in a high-powered offense with Andy Reid, who's notorious for wanting to throw to running backs.
And CEH has proven that he's not going to be that dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, agree.
Yep.
It's Pacheco for us. Easy.
I'd be willing to be wrong. That's one I'd be willing to be wrong, holding out on Pacheco to see what comes of him.
Well, it's a range of outcomes game, right? I mean, if Pacheco's a starting running back for Kansas City, you're taking him 10 times out of 10, which is in his range of outcomes. Nico Collins, I don't think has any chance to supplant Brandon Cooks as the wide receiver one in Houston.
Well, that, and you have to think that there's a possibility that Davis Mills is not the starting quarterback next year. They were looking at drafting, a guy this year. They ended up not. And it's just, if they have another bad season, in the wins and losses column, he could get the boot for someone with higher draft capital. So you never know. And then Nico Collins is starting all over with someone else. So
yeah.
And it's the Texans, dude. It's the Texans.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one of the worst offenses in the league, just ahead of the Bears. Alrino Bino wants to know, in a half-point PPR league, are you taking J.K. Dobbins or A.J. Dillon?
Oh, man.
J.K. Dobbins.
J.K. Dobbins or Aaron Dillon or A.J. Dillon. I'm sorry.
J.K.
Which
Dobbins.
one I assume he might be drafting. Or he just wants to know which one.
J.K. Dobbins.
Why?
Yeah, give me J.K. as well. Give me J.K. as well.
Give me the number one. Give me the number one RB, not the guy who's going to be getting less than half of a share.
Give me the top 3 rushing offense on a yearly basis, regardless of who the quarterback is, with a better coach and a better scheme over the guy who is a stud. He's the 2 right now, could be the 1, but Aaron Rodgers, we don't know how long Aaron Rodgers is going to play for. Yeah, I don't know. Just I like all the variables more in Dobbins' side.
I would have said Dobbins, but he did get injured last year, so.
Oh, so he's out. He's out.
I'm kidding. I'm with Dobbins too, man. Give me the extra year of youth I'm getting here.
I'll never forget. I accepted a trade from Begley last year. He sent it to me after he saw one of his players cramping on the field. That was great.
All right, we got a PBG CPA says it is a 14-team PPR Superflex. As a reminder, Superflex is where you can play quarterback in your flex. He's giving up Jameis Winston, T. Higgins, and a 23 third. He's getting Stafford, Cooks, and a 2nd and 4th in 2023. Giving Winston, T. Higgins, and a 3rd. Getting Stafford, Cooks, a 2 and a 4.
Ooh.
I don't think I'm taking it.
I'm taking the T. Higgins side with Wayne. Well, we like Jameis.
I'm gonna probably take the Stafford side with Brandon Cooks, reliable wide receiver. great quarterback. So
Give me more youth on all sides. T. Higgins, I think, has a better year than Brandon Cooks does. And Jameis Winston is a dark horse guy for me.
do you think he does better than Matt Stafford does?
I think it's a lot, not necessarily better, but I think it's very close.
Think he finishes within 3 spots?
He could, yeah.
You want to put a doink on it?
No,
Why not?
because I'm
I heard
holding.
Wayne say it. I heard him say it. So you
Yeah,
might
no.
wanna-
Usually he backs up what he says.
Well, I'd have to look at the quarterback rankings. I'd have to see like what I have in between.
Interesting. I know you have Matt Stafford way higher. That's why I was curious.
Yeah, and I just now said I think Matt Stafford finishes better. Do you think Brandon Cooks has a better year than T. Higgins?
No.
Okay.
Do you think he's the one?
Do you want to put a
All
doink
right.
on it? Do you think he's within 3 spots?
Oh man.
Goney? Is that a door?
What?
So you agree he's taken if he takes Matthew Stafford and Brandon Cooks, he's getting slightly better at quarterback and worse at wide receiver?
A little bit.
So his point value is roughly the same, but one side is a lot older than the other side. In a dynasty, go ahead and give me the youth. If the point differential between the two is very similar,
I don't know. You like Jameis a whole lot this year. I don't understand it, but it is what it is.
I'll tell you what, I got a doink for you.
Nah, I don't want it. Whatever it is, I don't want it, dude. You didn't accept mine. I don't want your doink.
Let me tell you what it is. You might
Nah,
want it.
I'm good. I'm good. Just save it because it's an insta no. I'm ready for the next question.
I bet Jameis Winston and T. Higgins combined for more points than Stafford and Cooks.
Cool,
Goney,
man.
you're
Cool,
taking
man.
it.
I'm not
Goney, you're
taking
taking it right now.
You know what? Hey, whose question was this? PPG CPA?
Yes, that's,
That-
you almost nailed half the
CPA.
letters.
I'm
that
doing
should,
it out of principle.
That should give you the answer to your question, man.
Doing it out
You're
of
welcome.
principle. I snap knowed you. It was an insta no.
That
so.
should answer your question for you. I tried to put a doink on it for you, and that should answer.
Goney, you didn't take that Gone?
It was an insta no, man. I'm not going back on my word of insta no. Insta no means insta no, Biggs. All right.
Pride got in the way of a good doink. It's a real
It is what
shame.
it is. It is what it is.
I'll give it to you,
Swindo.
Beggs. I'll give it to you.
No, I'm on your side. I told Jeff from the jump. I don't want the losing side.
This guy got in the way of a good doink bit.
You did that would have been close. It would have been a.
That's all I
nail-biter.
do. I just give out good competitive doinks. That's all I do.
It's not.
That's a good doink.
Either way, onward.
Onward. Swindo says it's his first year. His league just switched to Dynasty. I'll now brown cow.
Unique New York.
New York, yes. Yeah.
And it is a 10-team PPR. He's thinking about sending Kenneth Walker and getting a 2023 one, Eno Benjamin and Donovan Peoples-Jones. Are you guys doing that?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
While Wayne thinks, Goni,
The longest of pauses. We were due for a long pause.
Yeah.
Let me hear your why, Goni.
Shut up, Goni.
Due for a long
Just shut up,
pause.
man. Just
Well, you
shut
go
up.
ahead and keep thinking, man, and let me tell him why. Kenneth Walker, man, he obviously plays for Seattle. He's probably going to take over at some point throughout the year. But I just don't love him. He plays on a terrible offense. Maybe they even bring back Rashad Penny and they run a timeshare next year or going forward. I don't really know. This class coming up is supposed to be one of the best in years. So let me just go ahead and I'll throw him right back into the well and pick another player, coming out of this 23 draft that has a more favorable outcome.
What if
I don't think
it's
the talent overcomes. I don't think the talent overcomes the adversity he's going to be facing.
That's my thing is if you throw Kenneth Walker was we'll call him the unanimous number 2 pick of the first round this year. But if you throw him next year into next year's draft, he's like the 8 or 9. So I mean, go ahead and get that first round pick with a few other pieces, because like Goni said, just throw him back into the well because it was a very barren well that you picked it out of in the first place.
Yeah.
It's to me, if this is like the 11th or 12th pick in the 2023 draft, I don't think I do it. I'm not big on Donovan Peoples-Jones. I like Eno Benjamin as a handcuff to James Conner exclusively. I don't think he has any standalone value.
To me,
Mid to
it's
first,
just
I'll take it.
to me it's just like redoing your draft from this year with a better draft with better pool of players.
I know. I mean, I see what you're saying, but he's at least going to get a lot of volume there eventually. But I get it.
Eventually.
I get it. I would take it in a vacuum, but if you knew it was going to be the 11th or 12th, I probably want to get a second round pick with it.
And you said it was 10 team, right? 10 team
Yeah.
PPR?
Yeah.
No, dude. You need way better guys than that.
Well, then it's definitely
Ken
not the
Walker on your
11th or
team.
12th pick.
Math shows that it will not be the 11th or the 12th.
Touche.
But yeah, you need stronger guys than Kenneth Walker will ever be if you're in a 10 team.
Okay. Pizza with Bacon wants to know what is the fair value right now for Dameon Pierce? Is he worth a 1?
Bro, he is rocketing. I've actually heard recently that he went as high as a 102 in a rookie draft. Which it's absolutely exploded. I mean, I wouldn't feel good about giving up a 1 yet. I don't think. Maybe. Man, I don't know. A 1 is a lot of value for him, but I also don't care about the picks. So, like, if I'm hurting for a running back, I'd probably send it.
Hold, man.
Wayne?
His value is only going up. The longer you wait, the more you're going to get for him. So if you're not hurting for people now, if you're just trying to get picks out of him, hold.
Unless he sucks, in which case the value does go down. We've only seen him in preseason where he's absolutely dominated. So, like I said, I'm right next to Beggs on the bandwagon. He's driving it.
It's
looking
just
at the MapQuest directions.
Man, it's just his. And I'll give credit where credit is due. I mean, Begley pointed it out. It's like he's got an absolute golden brick road to leading that backfield to the tune of that RB1, just high volume David Montgomery-esque output.
Yeah, man. I mean, Rex Burkhead might steal a few third downs. But if Houston can be even a bottom middle of the pack offense, there's so much value here, dude. He's going to get every first and second down carry, period.
Yeah.
I mean, Rex can't sustain that. Anyway, I'm holding. I'm with Wayne. I'm holding because I don't think there's any way he fails. I think even if he doesn't meet whatever standards people have for him now, he'll still be worth a first just off the volume alone.
Not to mention, I'm pretty sure Rex Burkhead had a dislocated pinky back in 2015, and he just is a shell of himself ever since.
Touche. Thanks for the injury report. I didn't catch that one. Horror-thon. We have 3 more, by the way. Horror-thon says Higgins and Isaiah Likely for Garrett Wilson, a 23-1 and a 24-2. T. Higgins and Isaiah Likely for Garrett Wilson, a 23-1 and a 24-2. This is a hard no for me, but I'm all aboard the Higgins train.
Yeah, we know, man.
To me, when I look at Garrett Wilson, right, Zach Wilson isn't going to support him and Elijah Moore. It's just I feel like they're going to cannibalize each other.
It's a no. That's a no for me as well. They're trying to copy the Bengals mold of young quarterback, 2 young stud wide receivers, but Zach Wilson's he's not that dude. So, no, I'm good. I'm good on any and all Jets receivers. Wayne, long pause.
What was it? You were talking, sir.
Long pause. And you were thinking of something.
So he's got T. Higgins and Isaiah Likely.
Players again.
What was the other one?
It's Higgins and Isaiah Likely out of Baltimore for Garrett Wilson, a 23-1 and a 24-2.
Oh, man. I don't see Isaiah Likely having any value anytime soon. I know Baltimore has been
Fair.
like raving over him, but they already have a young running back that they're going to stick with because he's been fine.
He's a. You mean Mark Andrews, the tight end? That's what Likely is.
Huh?
Yep.
Isaiah Likely, tight end.
Or yeah,
Sorry, I
I
keep
just don't. I
misspoke
don't
on
see
you.
any value coming out of him for a while.
Yeah.
So it's just T. Higgins for Garrett Wilson and a 2023 first.
You
Oh
don't think they
man,
run some 2 tight end sets? Run like the old school Patriots Gronk Hernandez jammy?
They definitely do, bro. It's Baltimore.
That's what
They
I'm
run weird
thinking. I think
stuff.
he can have some value. Maybe not this year. He's a rookie. Rookie tight ends take a little while to become things. Usually.
no, he's not going to have any value
Okay.
for a good long while. I'm going to go ahead
So
and nip.
definitive. I love it.
Well, yeah, because let's call that what he's not going to have any value behind Mark Andrews. And
I agree.
whatever tight end set you want to run, I mean, he's Mark Andrews is the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth option.
Yeah.
Plus, he's a turf toe away from Beggs completely being on your side.
Also true.
So to me, it's just kind of T. Higgins for Garrett Wilson in a 2023 first. Oh my gosh, that's a good one. If it was okay, I'll just to move the show along. If it's a good 2023 first, I take it. If it's not, then I don't take it.
8.
So you hate
What if it was
a
8?
lot.
If it's an 8, I'm not taking it. I'm staying with T. Higgins.
No one is going to give you, like I don't think a first pick and Garrett Wilson.
If it's a 4, and Garrett Wilson, I'm taking it.
6.
No.
All right.
6 is the line for me.
So you fade Elijah Moore, but you like Garrett Wilson.
He's got
does.
high draft capital. Why would they have drafted him so
The
early?
highest of draft capital.
Huh?
Yeah, he's 10th
Many guys
overall.
throughout history have had high draft capital.
Okay, and it matters.
Yeah, but it doesn't always pan out.
It doesn't, but sometimes it does. Teams don't draft people very early and not plan on using them. I understand that you have busts. That's where the term comes from. But initially, if you're drafting somebody early, you're planning on utilizing them. I think that's pretty common knowledge.
Got the crash course lesson here, Mad Mob, on
I didn't think I had to give it, but I mean that's what draft capital is. You don't spend a lot of draft capital on somebody and plan on not utilizing them. And
It's
right
the
now they're
Jets.
planning on utilizing them.
It's the Jets, though.
Okay, is Elijah Moore not on the Jets?
We're talking about Garrett Wilson, I thought, in this trade.
We were, but you're talking about is Garrett Wilson going to have any value with Elijah Moore there? You're fading Elijah Moore. Yeah, I'm fading Elijah Moore because Garrett Wilson.
Oh, I didn't say that. It wasn't me.
Begley did.
I said I was just trying to clear it up. Well, we've talked about the Jets a lot, and Wayne is fading Elijah Moore this year, while Goni and I are not. So I was just trying to understand where his head was at there.
Draft capital. That's where my head's at.
Makes sense. Alternative Bake 362. It's a 12-team PPR Superflex. So go on, I'm going to let you take this one.
Come.
Contender. He's giving away Antonio Gibson in a 23-2 and a 24-2. He's getting Kenneth Walker, a 23-4 and a 24-3. So he's essentially giving away Gibson in a 2 for Kenneth Walker.
Nah.
Gibson in 2-2s for Kenneth Walker.
Nah. No. Too much.
You're getting disrespected in the picks.
Too much.
Yeah. Gibson stock's awfully low, though, boys. You think he can get more than this for Gibson right now?
Wait until the trade deadline. I would.
Okay.
Of this year. That's when the value, we're going to know whether or not he does well or not, and we'll see from there, honestly.
That's my thing. Talent-wise, the only thing, he's got to be putting forth maximum effort. You literally were told, hey, you lost your job. You lost your job. You're no longer the starter. You haven't been playing good enough. It's now this guy we just drafted. Like you've had to physically sit through that meeting, and then all of a sudden you get the opportunity to start again. Like now, he's got to give it 110 to have a job after this year. Or I don't know what Brian Robinson's timetable is. I'm not sure what a shot to the glute does as far as your ability. I know you probably Brian Robinson just put him out to pasture now. But
is there any injury quite like a gunshot wound?
I don't think so. But you know what I'm like.
I'm with you.
That's
I'm totally with you.
That's a scary thing. Like as an NFL player, that's a scary thing to be told you lost your job. And all of a sudden he has the opportunity. He's been given the opportunity to earn it back. You got to think that you got to be getting absolute maximum effort out of this man. I'm with Goni in that I think his value is high at the trade deadline. I think that Ron Rivera is a great coach. And if he sees that Antonio Gibson is turning the corner, putting forth the effort after the scare, I think he'll allow him to continue to be the starting running back for his team.
Fair enough. I agree. That's all good points, and I absolutely agree with you. My last question, looks like Goni had to step away. Mr. Shroom Guy 27 says, Pittman for Adams.
You're taking that, right? I know you're super high on Devontae Adams this year.
I am.
But you're taking that, right? Michael Pittman is due for a large step forward with Matt Ryan throwing on the ball this year.
So you're taking
Devontae Adams is due for a step backwards this year, going from Aaron Rodgers to Derek Carr in a less pass-heavy offense. As far as success goes, I know they attempt a lot, but successful pass attempts, he's going to a worse offense, a worse quarterback. Michael Pittman just got a better quarterback. He's younger. I'm going to make the very safe assumption that it's a dynasty.
Yeah, it is. So I think it comes down to how many years do you expect Devontae Adams to be a wide receiver one? If you think he's a wide receiver one this year, even if he's not the one, but he's, say, wide receiver 10, which I think is reasonable.
Yeah.
How long do you expect him to be at that range? If it's 3 years, you take the Adams side, right?
It depends how high you are on Pittman. Don't you think he's in that same range?
Dude, I think the moon is the ceiling for Pittman. I mean,
I'm taking
you drafted Pittman. Yeah, I think so too. That's a tough
And I know
one.
I drafted him, but that has nothing to do with it. Like, I've done 4 drafts this year, and I got him in 1 league. So it's not like he's somebody that I hunt down.
Yeah.
So that's not what's swaying my opinion. It's just I think he's got a lot of WR1 potential. And
Yeah,
I think he can be there for a while, whereas Devontae Adams, like, you're looking at him, and, like, he's been jumped by Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, Justin Fields. Some drafts have CeeDee Lamb going before him. Definitely in dynasty leagues. He's a guy that's working his way down, whereas Pittman is due for an absolute nuts year.
Dude, I agree. That's the guy you drafted that I wanted bad was Pittman. If you're the Adams owner and somebody offered you just Pittman, aren't you asking for Pittman in a second?
No, and it depends. Adams is aging out. Do you need to get rid of him?
Yeah, that's true too. That makes a big difference here.
If you have a stable of wide receivers, and you can either let Adams phase out or hold on or afford to hold on to him for another year and take less value for him after this year, do it. But I think Pittman for Adams is pretty fair in a dynasty.
I agree. I'm telling you, I'm with you. We're taking Pittman here, man. Plus, with Hunter Renfrow coming on last year, whatever Darren Waller is now, there's going to be some competition in Vegas. Pittman's by himself, man. I mean, dude's going to get targeted like crazy this year. Finally has a good quarterback. Take Pittman. And Wayne, that concludes the show, man. That's all I've got.
I'll follow up with this. I'm really excited to see Matt Ryan this year playing behind the best offensive line that he's ever played behind in his entire career. I think Matt Ryan has a great year this year as well. He's got the best running back that he's ever had. He's got the best line that he's ever had. Obviously not the best receivers he's ever had, but he's got very, very good receivers to throw to. So I look for Matt Ryan to have a great year this year too, from a football perspective, not necessarily a fantasy perspective. Don't get it twisted.
Who do you think has a better year, Jameis or Matt Ryan?
From a fantasy perspective, I still got to go with Jameis, man. That man absolutely airs the ball out.
Yeah.
I think Matt Ryan is more of a, calculated passer. I think the Colts still stick to their, if it's inside the 10, it's JT's world.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's the main thing that's holding Matt Ryan's fantasy value from going through the charts is the red zone touches that Jonathan Taylor just sucks up.
Totally agree. Absolutely agree. Yeah, as a Pittman owner, all we can ask is for Matt Ryan when he does throw the ball in the red zone, please target your best player.
Yeah,
please.
It can't. If Michael Pittman has a hard ceiling, if it's taken with some sort, like if he brings the Julio Jones-ishness over to Indianapolis with him, hopefully Frank Reich won't let that happen.
Yeah, good. Exactly. I agree. Going really quick because we're done.
Yep.
Michael Pittman or Devonta Adams
this year
in a trade.
Give me Michael Pittman.
Okay. You agree.
And that's it. We got Goni back for the outro. He said he had diarrhea. That was like a weird – it must have absolutely tapped fabric because he jumped out of his chair with no warning whatsoever and was gone for about 5 minutes, and now he's back.
Fallacies.
It's not. That's weird that he would say that. But, yeah. So we're bringing this one to a close. It was our last Q&A of the regular season again. Breaks my heart to see him go, but they have to. They got to make room for the waterfalls of content coming your way throughout the NFL season. Days away.
Structure coming.
Structure. We are days away, Mad Mob. I'm giddy. We are days away. We appreciate y'all. You know where to find us. TikTok, Twitter, and Reddit, mad_ff_pod. madffpodcast@gmail.com, our YouTube and our Facebook, Mad Fantasy Football. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever is convenient for you, we are there. We look forward to starting this season with y'all. We really are. It's our first season as a podcast, we're gonna grind. We're gonna grind it out. We're happy to have y'all along.
Let's go.
Can't wait, man. Cannot wait.
Follow, subscribe.
Subscribe.
Wayne, you're not a morning person, man. I'm excited to see how your analysis shakes out first thing in the morning.
It's going to be flawless per the norm.
Absolutely. I would expect nothing less.
All right. Random diarrhea breaks for MVP.
Man, for MVP.